Common sense media. Is it any good? The kids try hard and the dogs are cute, but nothing can save this clumsy, confusing mess of a movie. A few unresolved flashbacks, a barely related dream sequence, and sketchy special effects compound the root problems. The story is lacking motivation, consistency, and forward motion. The adult characters, along with the actors who portray them, are one-dimensional and irritating, and what little suspense the filmmakers manage to create never pays off. All in all, it's hard to award it even 1 star.
Sounds great.
Dogs, they're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
Helen Hickson was looking for a little adventure.
Anything in Grandma's closet?
What she found
That's it.
was a magical bracelet with a mysterious past. And a whole lot of trouble.
It's the bracelet changed you.
Bring it on!
With that much power, I don't know what I would do.
Welcome to Rough Cuts. Okay, I don't understand why they're saying that there's no consistency or payoff. They started this movie out with a shot of the Nazis and the bracelets that they have as magic, and they use that magic Nazi bracelet at the end of this movie to solve the dog napping. That is a setup and payoff. What's the problem?
You can't set up your family film by starting with the Third Reich. God
You
damn
can,
it,
then they did.
God damn it, movie.
You can, and they did. And it has payoff because it goes at the end of it, too, where the other girl, the French girl,
Yeah.
in the most big air quotes I can, the French girl talks about, like, to her grandmère about her being a French resistance soldier that was actually a
That's
Nazi
true.
sympathizer or something, I don't know, and gets the specific special Nazi bracelet from grandma, and then they bring it all together in the end when the other little girl uses it to do a homophobia.
Look, I promise this is a dog movie. We watched a dog movie. I just didn't expect it to go like this.
The first 10 seconds are a Hitler ritual.
What
Like-
the fuck, movie?
I want to point out that someone in the props department of this movie had to do a Hitler painting.
They sure did.
They had to do a Hitler
Yeah.
painting because that was a movie-specific Hitler painting that they used for 5 seconds.
Oh, God.
And then a whole bunch of... I don't know if that was... Okay, do you think that was an archival shot of them doing the Hitler salute? Or did they make cast members do it? Just...
Archival?
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping.
It had to be. Okay.
They also made a homemade swastika, so that was... There was a lot of arts and crafts by the props department for this movie.
Yeah. So we watched The Bracelet of Bordeaux, a fun family film
About dogs.
about
It's-
dogs.
Okay, so this movie is about... It's about Girl Sprouts,
Yeah.
punks and goths,
Yeah.
Italian mobsters on steamboats,
Yes.
and Hitler's magical Nazi bracelet.
Yes.
Also, 2 other things that I have written down here to help out. Ice Cream Nightmare and Into Jazz! So,
This,
it's about all of these things. Oh, and Texas! Oh my god, there's so much Texas.
There's a lot of Texas. Let me preface this. We've been blabbering for about 3 minutes because we don't know what the fuck to do. This movie is so weird, and it's like a 90-minute fever dream of what the fuck. And we don't even know where to start. And oh god.
This is one of the greatest films I've ever seen. It's the most avant-garde piece of media that we've probably ever watched on this podcast. Highly recommend it. 5 stars.
I actually, as a B movie, this might be one of the best B movies I've seen on the podcast, and it's not intending to be that.
No, that's why it's a good B movie, because somebody did
At
this
all.
thinking that they were making a real movie, and what they made is a fever dream nightmare of avant-garde bullshit.
I also want to point out what we're about to say sounds extremely crazy and like we're making it up. And I want to let you know that everything we're about to tell you about this movie is 100% accurate. We have a tendency to exaggerate for a joke. That is not this episode.
There's zero.
There's
There's no
no
way you can
exaggeration.
exaggerate a single thing in this movie. This
No.
movie exaggerates itself to a point that there's no way we could.
We could not come up with things that are as crazy as what we actually saw. Okay?
Correct.
Let me tell you that before we get in. I think the literal only way to talk about this film is to just go straight through it. There's no way to
Yes.
explain anything.
Strap in for a 2-hour conversation about every scene in this movie because that's the only way to describe it.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we did the Hitler ritual. Then
Yes.
where does it go right after that, boy? Because you take the next scene.
Okay, so it goes from a young woman. So she's sitting in like an attic, putting some stuff away with pictures of Hitler and hiding things in a box, to fun CGI planes and happy Full House music for credits.
Yeah, it's extreme 90s sitcom music.
It's so jarring.
And then they have a Harry Potter title font.
Yeah, they sure do. So after this, we go to our main character, who's a young girl, flying in a plane to Texas with a bunch of terrible people, which is a running theme in this movie because everybody in this movie, except for one character, is fucking terrible.
There's two, actually, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Everyone in this movie is a nightmare person.
Yes.
They are... It is hard to describe how awful these people are. Every single person is a monster.
So because they're going to Texas, the flight attendant is talking about how shitty Texas is to this girl, while the pilot is also saying, hey, there's acid rain coming. Don't forget to bottle it up. It's delicious. It's Texas.
Oh, God, he does say that, yeah.
It sure does.
Show us your white, mile wide Texas smile.
And then they land in Chem City, Texas.
Yes.
Where all of the oil wells are, so that she can meet her mom and dad at the airport. I guess. No, she meets the mom and then they go to the dad who's at the car rental. The car rental!
Yes, correct. And then the dad leans down and puts his arms out, and she goes, Rufus! And runs over to her dog instead, past her dad, which, correct.
Yeah. Rufus is a very small Pomeranian. Adorable.
It's a very adorable Pomeranian. Rufus gets a pet here because she hugs Rufus.
It's true.
That will not happen again for a while.
So they get their car because it's Texas. It's a Hummer that has bullhorns, long horns attached to it.
Yeah,
I guess. And then they drive by a bunch of B-roll footage of oil wells because it's Texas.
Yeah, and her dad's in like a lariat tie with a Texas state thing on it, which he has all the time, and like a 10-gallon hat, and he's like, we're going to Texas, you bet, because Texas oil wells. My oil wells are coming in when my oil wells get us money on our cattle ranch from Texas.
They shot this movie in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
This is not somebody who doesn't know what Texas is. This is somebody who has been to Texas and shot video of Texas. They still don't know what Texas is.
It premiered at the Austin City Film Festival.
Yeah. It literally shits on Texas for 90 minutes of this film.
In the most absurd way possible. Like, it's hard to describe. Man. Anyway, so they go into their house. In their house is a small child bound and gagged. A
small French child.
Well, you say that.
I am, how you say French. Ho ho. Oh, oui, oui.
Mademoiselle, thank you for rescuing me. I'm talking it. So, my dog got stolen. I am French girl. And I need to find my dog, my little doggy. It goes in and out like that. That's her French accent. It's really good. But so she explains that they're like, oh, we should call the cops because you are bound and gagged in here, and you're saying that they mugged you and your dog was stolen. And she goes, you can't call the cops. When I called them, they insisted he's lost. How did she call it? Because she was bound and gagged in this house! This stranger's house!
Well, to be fair, the parents care more that they stole their couch than that they stole this little girl's dog and bound and gagged her and left her there.
True. Very true. Also, we know that there's a lot of crime in this area before they go into the house. I forgot about this. They know that there's a lot of crime in this area before they even go into the house. Because in their door of their new house is a newspaper, which is just a sheet of paper that somebody printed out on a printer.
Yeah.
that says, crime up 90% in big letters with no pictures and no other text.
Otherwise, we wouldn't know that there was crime.
Yes.
So, well, anyways, she tells them that the person who tied her up and left her there was wearing a costume. So they show his fetish gear collar.
She has the collar. She has it, doesn't she?
She does, yes.
She has it. She just has it. It's like a studded dog collar. It's
definitely a dog collar. It sure
It's
is.
a studded punk dog collar. And then it cuts to the punks. Do you want to take?
Oh God, the punks. Oh, so the punks are like the lamest Midwest, like, white people that think they're punk but definitely aren't punks. And
they have chains on their wallet, boys. They're definitely punks.
They went to Hot Topic and Spencer's and called it punk. Like, that's the level of punk we got. And one of them didn't want to cut their hair for the show to get a mohawk, so they just braided it into like 3 spikes and called it good.
Yeah, it's very braided and then like temporary spray painted colored, like blue, but only on the tips. Like the rest of his hair on the sides isn't. And it must have been 1,000,000 degrees out because he's just like pouring sweat all the time. So his hair is all greasy and like falling over in these weird braids that they've tried to like glue up. And at one point he tries to fix it a little bit in this first scene. And so of course they do a boing of sound effect over it. It's like you do.
Look, when you have free sound effects and free, assets you can use in your film, you just throw them in there, right?
You just put them all in.
Just put them all in. I downloaded all these. They're fucking going. But, okay, so they meet the punks. The punks are stealing dogs. That's the plot. The punks are stealing dogs for their Italian
Yes.
And Uncle Sal, who is on a riverboat calling his nephew, who's the idiot punk with the spike braided hair, and threatening him that if he doesn't get the $10,000 they need in ransom money from the dog they're stealing, he's gonna fucking kill him.
And the reason why he's saying that is this is a scene where I wrote down some exact quotes because I needed it.
Yeah.
He goes, I need to ask you, are you skimming the cream dogs, kid? I know you're skimming the cream dogs.
I mean, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Trust. When your old man went to the slammer, he told me to take care of you, put a roof over your head, treat you like a son, didn't he? Didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Then you went off and got greedy. You started skimming some of the cream dogs for yourself and your little punk gang.
Because he thinks that his punk nephew is skimming money off the dogs that they're dog napping.
Yes, no, I think that
skimming the cream
he's
off the top,
stealing
right?
more. He's stealing dogs behind his back and not.
Yeah, that's true. He could be doing that.
I think that's what it is. I think that he's doing dog napping on his own on the side, and he's accusing him. I think
you can't skim the cream dogs.
You can't skim the cream dogs. Can't skim the cream dogs from your Uncle Sal, an Italian Texas mafia steamboat operator. You know how you know that they're Italian mafia, right?
Because they have an Italian accent.
No, because they put little velvet roses on their collars
On
so
their
that you can
cell
see that they're
phone
Italian.
collar. It was on his cell phone too.
It was on his cell phone too. Yeah, they made a prop on his cell phone that was like
They
black
gave-
velvet case that had a little like velvet rose on it, so that you know that he's Italian.
So at this point, our main character girl and French girl decide that they're going to go ask around town to see if they can find more information about this studded letter fetish collar that they found in the house.
I want to say one
Right.
last thing though, really quickly about the punks' hideout, which is they have a campfire in the woods.
Oh yeah, they're just hanging out in the woods where you can shoot. Did you know you can shoot for free in the woods?
Yeah,
'Cause I did.
Like they just have a bunch of logs around a campfire, and this is their like secret criminal hideout. It's anyway, yeah. So they're gonna find this fetish collar around town.
Well, so there's a bunch of scenes of them talking to random people in the town. I'll go through each one, but essentially they're just asking them about the collar and trying to gather information. So their first was they are attempting to go into, I think, a clothing store, and there's Texas man outside missing most of his teeth.
Yeah,
who is shaking them down for money.
He does a joke about that too, because everybody's going like, "Oh, your mile-wide Texas smile," and then he goes like, "Oh, you aren't from around here, are you?" So they're like, they show them their mild-wide Texas smile, and he looks at them and goes, "Yeah, you got all your teeth."
Not like Texas, where we're all filthy and awful.
Jesus Christ, these people hate Texas.
There's also Grandma who's gardening, who she's yelling at them and saying, "Hey, if your little dog comes over here, I'll fucking kill it."
Yep.
There's clothing shop guy who's a piece of shit.
Yeah, so it's like a clothing shop / Spencer's Gifts / pawn shop. It is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Which he basically just tells them to fuck off if they don't have $7 to buy and do anything in the store, I guess. I don't know.
He makes people pay. That's a recurring theme in this. This guy comes in a couple times and is always like, "You gotta have your $7 to be in my store so I can give you information."
Yeah. No loitering, kid.
Yeah.
And then there's also Ice Cream Man, who, when they ask him about the collar, he dumps the ice cream in his hair and then back into the cone. No, he just takes it, he puts it in a cone, smacks it on his face, and then gives it to them. And she's like, you got hair in my ice cream. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get you another one. Just loogies on it and gives her that. Like, what a piece of shit.
Like, and why? Why?
We know
why
why
is any of this happening?
We know that one because he's actually one of the punks and he's being a piece of shit. But the rest of them, why?
But even him, why would he, like, that's just drawing attention to you. Why would he do this?
So
anyway,
the two kids decide, all right, let's go to French girl's grandmama and see if we can get some more information that way or something that might help us out. And they go and meet French grandmama, and there's a really good scene where the phone's ringing, and I'll let you talk about this scene because it's so good.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was right after they saw the grandma outside, who's her neighbor, I guess.
Yeah.
And her neighbor is yelling about, like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill your dog if it comes over here. If it touches one blade of my grass, I'm breaking that dog's paws." Something like that. She actually says, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, they go inside and they're like, and she's like, "Oh, were you arguing with the neighbor lady? That's not very nice." But she doesn't have her hearing aid in. And so they're like, "Well, she deserved it. She's being like a bitch or something." They said something like that. She goes, "She hit you with a switch. Well, then she deserved it." And it was kind of great. It was actually a really good scene of like them being confused about it. And then she gets a call, which is from the punks?
The punk.
Makes no sense because they already said that they needed to give $10,000 for the dog.
Yes, because the French girl's poodle got a dog napped earlier.
Yeah.
And this is the grandma who had the dog, so they're calling her to try and extort money out of her, right? So
I guess, but the French girl had already known that they wanted $10,000 for the dog and it had been kidnapped, so I don't know why they needed to reestablish that, but whatever.
Yeah.
So they're calling the grandma now to re-extort her, and they're like, you have 20, this is urgent, you have 24. She's like, hold up, I need my hearing aid, hang on, and sets the phone down, and she starts like rummaging through the house for it, and it just kind of cuts back to the punks just like standing there in their woods going like, what do we do? They wait for a little while as Grandma rummages around, and then she finds her hearing aid, puts it in, and she goes like, yes, what were you saying? They're like, you heard we were saying you have 24 hours to give us $10,000 or we're gonna kill your dog. We'll
cut off your ear. Cut off.
Yeah, we're gonna cut off one of the dog's ears and mail it to you. And she goes, and what are you going to do with your ears? I was in the French Resistance. I'm gonna cut your ears off and mail it back to you, you little shits.
And then hangs up. Yeah. Like, holy shit, Grandma.
Most badass grandma of all time. It rules. I'll fuck you up, you little bastards.
I'll have you know I killed hundreds of Nazis in my day. Yeah. Like, goddamn, Grandma. Holy shit.
Yeah, I love that she's like, and what will they do with your ears when I cut them off and mail them to you?
Oh.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
So then they go into the attic, which, go ahead, Boinks.
Yeah, so they go to the attic because they're looking around for random things, I guess. And our main character girl is just playing around with a lock that's on a chest. And the French girl's like, oh, you do not want to do that. That there's stuff in there and it's old.
Mm-hmm.
Which she then determines the lock combination and opens. And there's a secret compartment, which they also open, because they just know it's there, and that's where all the Nazi paraphernalia is. And they find the book that her grandma hid, which has a bracelet hidden inside of the pages that they take out.
The bracelet around the pages, by the way. Okay, I want to reiterate just something really quickly here. So in the opening Hitler ritual scene, she puts on the bracelet and she does like a weird motion and it kind of does like a burn sound effect or something.
Yeah.
And when they open up the thing now,
through, right?
where the Hitler, where the Hitler painting was, it's now ashes. And inside of the book, there's like burn rings all around this bracelet. So like, this is very obviously a fire power bracelet, right?
Sure. Whatever.
Fuck no! Of course it isn't! What's wrong with you, you idiots? But of course it doesn't have that.
Like, what happens is our main character takes the bracelet out of the book and puts it on and immediately becomes evil. Like,
yes!
Holy shit, she becomes evil. And she goes on a revenge spree against everybody that wronged her in the last 5 minutes.
Yes.
Like, she goes back to the gardening lady outside and magically takes control of a lawnmower and that chases her around and eats all of her flowers, and I assume attacks her at some point.
I want to expand on this a little bit in that she puts on the bracelet and they do, like, they speed up the footage where she just suddenly is, like, running super, super fast, and she runs downstairs, grabs her bike, and then she goes and does this growl.
She's like growling at them. Yeah.
At the grandma, and the grandma growls back at her.
The outside grandma.
Growl off for a minute, and then suddenly the lawnmower, like you said, does all the chasing.
Yeah.
The lawnmower is very clearly off. What the fuck is happening?
Bring it on!
Fucking get him! Beat that grandma up! Yeah! No, it is. Yeah, somebody's just holding it out of frame. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But okay, but
it's off too, though. Like it's mowing over the garden, but the lawnmower is also very clearly off and not doing any damage to any of these flowers.
But she physically assaults this grandma.
Yes.
Right? And then she goes back to the clothing store.
Yep.
And the dude's shaking down this kid for $7 that was looking around his store again. Because that's his thing. And she just turns into a fucking mariachi costume character with a revolver a real gun that she loads with red hots.
I'm like, please make sure that you do the red hot loading.
And she just starts blasting at him as he starts running from the shop with random kids piling in from the side, laughing at him in a fucking nightmare sequence.
Yes.
What the fuck? And then she steals a bunch of clothes from the store, walks out and says, I bought them.
Yo, I got these clothes for you. And the little French girl's following her this whole time going, oh, mademoiselle, no, you cannot do this.
Please do not go on a murder and stealing spree, you horrible monster. So then she goes to the ice cream guy, who is a piece of shit.
Which is where I wrote down Ice Cream Nightmare.
Yeah, do you want to talk about Ice Cream Nightmare?
No, you go ahead. I'm
good.
Okay. I just needed to say that my note for it was just Ice Cream Nightmare because I don't know how to describe it.
I'm a little exasperated right now. But she goes to the ice cream guy. The ice cream guy is like, oh, you're back? Let me spit on more ice cream, you little shit. So she throws one scoop of ice cream at him. He's like, oh no, you got me. Is that the best you got? And he starts walking towards her like he's going to beat her up. So she gets an even bigger scoop of ice cream. And it's like literally like a cannonball of ice cream. And it hits him in the fucking face.
She has a like catapult.
Yeah, it's like a catapult. Yeah.
Out of nowhere, she's got a catapult. The first time too, I want to again expand a little bit in that she doesn't just come up and throw ice cream at him. She comes up, and then suddenly we get a scene of like like, and she has a baseball uniform on. She's on a pitcher's mound. She's holding a ball of ice cream in her hand, like baseball.
Yeah.
And there is a crowd of cheerleaders all wearing shirts that say ice cream on them, singing a song for her, and then she throws it at him.
That's true. And then he gets a bat because he also has a baseball bat. Obviously, it's and he's like, "Okay, I'm ready." Winds up for it, ready for the next pitch, and she pulls out a fucking bazooka. And
also, his bat is a yellow and green striped bat, but it's for like little children. Like it would be for like a 6-year-old.
And she pulls out the bazooka though. She blasts him from the back as he's running away and shoots him in the back. Like, holy shit, lady. And then we go back to the attic or the grandma's house. And her and the French girl are talking. She's like, you know what? Maybe I'm a terrible person.
Yes, she actually has this conversation where she's like, I think I'm a bad enough person that I shouldn't have all this power. And I'm like, yes, correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As it turns out, Nazi superweapons are bad.
Yeah, it sure is. I don't even know if I want to talk about the next scene because I hate it.
I will. Okay, I'll handle it real quick.
Yeah.
So, like, this is where this movie is just such a nightmare. Because the little girl's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have it. She puts it away, and then you see the little French girl looking through all the paraphernalia, and she sees a salute, like a photo of all of them doing a Nazi salute, and so she slowly in the mirror like stands at it, and like she's hypnotized, raises her arm and does the Roman salute so that her grandma can come in and scream at her. And
it's an extended scene.
Yes, it's a really long scene of her like very slowly being hypnotized in the mirror by this photo of people doing the Nazi salute with like swastikas and SS banners and all kinds of things. And then she slowly like looks up into the mirror and like her eyes go wide as she slowly raises her arm, and they have like sound clips in the background of like the rallies, and then grandma runs in and is like, no, you cannot do this. No. And then they have a little thing where she goes, Nazis are bad. Don't do that. I guess. It doesn't really go into it at all. It just goes like, you shouldn't do that salute. I'm not going to tell you why, but it's bad.
They set it up for a real talk and then didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fucking hell.
Immediate cut to Girl Sprout's task force where she goes, I have a different superpower that we can use. I have the Girl Sprouts, which is their Girl Scouts knockoff, which she's been wearing a uniform for this whole time.
we didn't notice that, or we didn't mention that, I says.
Yeah.
She only wears a Girl Sprouts uniform at all times and never takes it off, and it's the only outfit she has.
And her parents keep on talking about how, like, you need to wash that. It's real fucking funky.
Yep.
It's gross.
Yeah, but she decides to use the power of the Girl Sprouts to gain an army that she can utilize against these punks and help solve her problems.
Yep.
Right? So she goes to a Girl Sprout meeting where they're talking about the accomplishments that they've done that week, which is, like, I got my whatever badge that they got.
Yes.
And they're talking about that.
I went and helped seniors clean up trash.
Yeah.
And then all the adults just let her walk to the front, and she goes, I need you to become my personal army. And they all go, yes, mistress.
Yeah, well, one of the kids is like, will that get me a sympathy badge? I need a sympathy badge. Yeah, not an empathy badge at all. I just want to sympathize with things. I don't
nobody in this movie has learned sympathy unless they get the sympathy badge. I don't think anybody's gotten one yet.
So at this point, the punks are a little pissed off at this girl that shot a bazooka at their punk ice cream friend. Fuck, this movie's weird. And they take their small child that they've somewhat abducted into their punk group to be an underling called Bart, who only wears filthy clothes. And they hang him upside down over the girl's fence so that he can dog nap Rufus.
Yes.
Okay, and they leave a ransom note.
Yes.
So all of this happened while the girls were out being little shits. So our main character comes back to the house where the cops are because of the dog napping.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents are talking to the cop and saying, oh no, there's a ransom note, $10,000. Do you think they take credit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the cop, she goes, I'll get my dog back. And the cop looks at her and he goes,
I'll get the money. Yeah.
Yes, I have the exact quote of this. He goes, and how do you plan to do that, little lady? Because he's Texas, of course.
Yeah.
He goes, legally, in that exact tone of voice, too. And I'm like, yeah, you tell that fucking cop. You tell him to shut the fuck up. They really hate cops in this movie, and it's one of the good things this movie does. They fucking hate the cops.
They caricature the cops really well.
Yes.
Great.
Also, the cops are wearing security uniforms that they found in like a thrift store somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But then they left the security badges on the cop uniforms, but then took like police badges that they found or made and just taped them over them.
Yeah, it's just on top of the other badge.
Yes.
It's such a bad costume.
You can see them peeling off most of the time, so it's just like this double badge. It's amazing.
Well, okay, so after she tells the cop to fuck off and she's gonna get the money, she goes to her room, she goes to bed for the night, and she's wondering about what to do about this ransom, and it's a really tough situation. And then we hard cut to smooth jazz.
Does it even show her going to the bedroom? Because I don't think it does. I think that it just hard cuts to the jazz and then just shows her wake up the next day.
She is in bed, and then it like soft transitions to it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a dream
I missed that soft transition because it was really fast. Like 5 seconds away from legally, it turns into fucking jazz.
Yes. So in theory, this is a dream sequence. It isn't because of the way they shot it, but it is. You want to talk about smooth jazz? I can't describe smooth jazz.
I can't describe smooth jazz. There's rose petals everywhere, and there's the guy that is apparently on the football team that we've seen once, and he's playing the piano and looking at her really
weirdly.
Anyway, I'm moving on past that part.
That guy was also at the Girl Sprouts meeting as a model that they were painting in football costume.
Yes. Yes.
Fucking weird.
And then Fuck, this movie is so full of, like, it's just a nightmare scene.
I
It's
need
a
to point
nightmare
out,
scene and a nightmare scene and a nightmare scene,
Okay.
and none of it's able to be described.
we're 30-some minutes into the podcast. I need to remind everybody, we are not exaggerating. This
No.
is this film. This happened.
I have to keep interrupting you to add detail because you're not describing enough of the nightmare stuff. But there's rose petals around, and there's like people on trumpets, and he's doing like weird, sexy looks at the camera in his like football gear while he does smooth jazz on the piano, and
Rufus is
and there's like heart.
king and crown, and she's dancing, and
Oh yeah, the dog. Yeah, Rufus is there, and he's wearing a crown and a cape. I forgot about that. So then they like zoom him in towards the camera, and he's flying as smooth jazz plays, and they like soft focus it as like a fisheye soft focus lens kind of thing, and then she wakes up. And that's that scene.
That's that scene. And then she goes downstairs because their parents are wondering what to do about the money still. And at the same time, her mom gets a call saying, "We found your couch. That's the important thing. Your couch that was gone. Come pick it up. It's in
Yes.
the trash."
And at the same time, she's embarrassed because all of the Girl Sprouts are showing up and jamming like wads of cash, like huge stacks of cash into their front door
Yep.
to donation drive, I guess. Like these little girls have been going out and mugging people or something, and she's now got a criminal empire. I don't
No, it's legally. I'd say. Yeah, she manipulated the Girl Scouts into collecting money for. Sorry, Girl Sprouts are legally distinct. Into getting money for her in the guise that it would be for the French girl's poodle, who is dead at this point in the film, we find out. And
Which, okay, they just say, at one point the little French girl just goes, they killed my Elka. We've never seen the punks say anything about that. They never do. Like, the punks don't tell her that. She just knows it psychically, I guess.
she's just fucking dead. And then what she does instead is she goes to the church where they have their Girl Sprout meeting, even though they had a community center for it earlier. And she's like, "Oh, you remember all that money? Thank you so much for donating it. That dog's fucking dead, but I'm going to use it for my dog instead."
I'm just taking it for myself. She just goes like, thank you all for raising all this money. It's mine now. Thank you.
And everybody claps.
Yes.
Yeah. And her mom shows up at the church because she left because she was so embarrassed about everybody giving her money. But that's also where all the Girl Sprouts are, who are going to give her money, and they give her a huge pity party about her lost dog.
Yes, and the mom also, when she drops, so she sneaks out because she's so embarrassed that they're jamming money in the front door, and she hates it. She's like, "I don't want to be a beggar too," which, yeah, they shouldn't be. They're in a giant mansion, and the dad's talking about his fucking oil wells. So she gets in their Hummer and drives away with the big longhorns on it, and she drives past the house where you can see the Hummer in the driveway with the big longhorns on it. She's in the car, and it's like. Do they have two of them? Is it just Hummers all the way down? I don't know. So yeah, then the little girl goes on her bike to the church, and then the mom shows up there later because the Hummer's obviously slower than the bike.
Bike?
Why did she go to the church anyways? Why would she know that they're there?
So the two kids, the French girl and our main character, show up at the white trash house after getting a ride from Dr. What's his face?
I don't know.
In
his like roadster?
Yeah. And they show up there, and the white trash lady opens the door with her curlers and her hair. And she starts hollering at the doctor in the car. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? How are you? Freshly single." Yes.
Yeah, she was like the arm pump. She wiggles her fingers and then does an arm pump. And I want to point out too, okay, so we just said like, well, the doctor, and you're like, well, where did this doctor come from? We don't fucking know either!
I don't know.
But he just suddenly shows up and he's like, "I'm vet doctor so-and-so with my cool roadster thing. You little girls want to ride to this white trash woman's house who also happens to be the realtor that sold you your mansion." What? Why is she the white trash mobile home lady then?
And white trash lady is the mother of the kid that is getting bullied by the punks named Bart, who also dognapped her dog. So they see the kid running away as they're in his house, essentially, and they go after him and they run it over to a pool with him. I guess, right? Or no, because they just know it's the kid. Or at least
they just know it's the kid. That happens later.
Because what happens, we find out that the cop is in on it afterwards. Because they're wandering around and they hear the cop over the fence talking to the punks.
Yes. And the cop is getting hush money from them so that they can continue their dog napping ring. Yeah. So then the next scene, I think, is this. I have it written down as this. It was hard to keep track of all of them. I have a lot of notes, and they're all
so much happening.
But this is where then my note says, okay, this is really bad. I hate to have to say it, but burqa insect netting.
That's true.
Because she found an area that said warning, insects must wear protective clothing. So she takes the burqa that she stole from the thrift store Spencer's Gifts pawn shop thing. And tricks the punks into chasing her, and then she takes them through that, but she's protected because she's wearing the burqa.
It's real bad. But at the same
time...
That
had no relation to anything else in this movie, by the way, because that doesn't have any consequences at all.
No, but she does find the glasses of the kid that stole her dog during that scene.
She found those before. She found those outside when the cop was talking. Those were over the fence.
Yeah.
So it still has nothing to do with this scene.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with this scene. But they do go after that kid afterwards, and they drag him to the pool. And then they start fucking waterboarding him for information in the pool.
They're drowning this child in the pool. Like, very literally. They shoot him in the pool, and we're like, are they going to drown him in the pool as, like, information?
Yes.
And I was like, no, they can't go that far. And then she starts dunking him in the water. And
they go that far.
Yep. So then the cop walks in on this to tell her that, she probably shouldn't worry about the punks and not to stop it at all.
No, not to stop the waterboarding.
In the background, while they're talking to her inside the house, the French girl is still waterboarding this other child in the pool behind them. And the cop is sitting there.
And the kid snitches. He tells them all about the punks' plan of dog napping and getting money, and that they're skimming on the side and taking money from their Uncle Sal.
Which means that then we hard cut to Uncle Sal's steamboat, where a man is feeding a chihuahua hot sauce off of a lettuce leaf, and then Uncle Sal comes in and talks about how he needs to stop feeding them pepper sauce because it's making him go off of his meds, and think that there is a dog farting conspiracy where all of the dogs are being stinky specifically to him. And maybe if they didn't get fed pepper sauce, they wouldn't be so stinky. So then it goes to the goons' perspective, where all the dogs are farting, and it zooms in on the dogs' asses over and over as they fart. And then he leans into the one dog, and it blows the hinges off of its cage and puts like soot all over him because it's such a big, stinky, nasty fart because of all of this hot sauce he's been feeding them off of lettuce leaves. And then it goes back to the rest of the movie. And don't worry about that. That never happens again. It has nothing to do with the rest of the scenes. I'm not fucking shitting you. I am not making this up. I'm not that fucking creative.
It's a dog farting conspiracy. That happened. That was real.
That did happen, right? Like, I didn't just write that down.
No, that was real.
Okay.
So the girl decides that she's going to trick the punks into thinking she had the $10,000 by stuffing a backpack full of newspaper. And she takes the call from the punk. She's like, yeah, I have your fucking money. Yeah, what you gonna do, criminal? Oh, you do? Oh, well, meet me at the pier at 10. Yeah, I'll be fucking there, kid.
Yeah, meet me at Pier 1.
The store imports. Yeah.
Yes. But like no, but he like names it. He's like, oh, like meet me at like Pier 1 kind of thing. Describe Pier 1 when she goes to see.
It's a dock in the swamp, which is not a pier.
Yeah,
It's just a dock in a shitty little pond.
Yeah.
Probably at the same park they shot all the escape sequences in.
Yeah.
So, okay, but at this point, this is too much for French girl. She is done with this girl's shit. There's no more
should be
here. Because this girl was being abusive and terrible to her and stealing things and attacking people with bazookas.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is fed up, and we get a nice touching montage about their friendship breaking.
They had no friendship. There was nothing here.
No. But after the friendship montage, the parents show up, and they're like, don't worry, girl, you don't need to go out and deal with those punks. We've solved the problem. We're gonna go get a new dog.
We'll buy you a new dog.
That'll solve the problem.
Everyone in this movie is shitty as hell. They're all the worst.
She rightfully tells them to fuck off.
Yes, it's the one time where I'm like, this little girl finally has it right. She's like, you don't understand anything, do you? That dog's my friend. You don't just replace it. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah. I wrote down after that, it's a dog emergency because she runs back up to the why she's in the burqa again, which is weird. But she goes to the doctor in his cool car, and she's like, I need a ride. It's a dog emergency, life or death.
Yes, I know why she's in the burqa. I remember.
Oh yeah.
She sneaks away from her parents because she says that she needs to go to the bathroom, and then she dresses in the burqa so that then when she leaves the bathroom, her mom's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're a burqa person, and I can't talk to you or something." I don't know.
Not my small child.
You're not my small child because you're in a burqa, I guess.
Okay, so and that's because she tricked her parents into taking her to the park to get ice cream.
Yeah, she goes, a new dog won't solve this problem for me. You know what will, though? If you take me to the park for ice cream, that'll be better.
Yeah. The trick to solve every child's problem is, hey, you want some ice cream?
Mm-hmm. Just want some little ice cream.
You're just a little guy. It's your birthday.
You see the punk ice cream salesperson, and he screams and runs away.
But okay, so she meets the punk, the shitty punk with the awful hair. At
the main one, yeah.
The pier, in big air quotes. And Bart is there, the small child, with the dog, giving it a very good hug in a boat.
Second pet. This is pet counter number 2. It took us like an hour to get to second pet, but we finally had a dog get petted again.
Yes, and she gives him the backpack. He tells her to get on the boat, kicks it off into the pond, and then pulls out the plug on the boat to drain it so that it, sinks. And they can both swim, so they can just leave. Except there's B-roll of alligators in Texas.
There's some very, very obvious B-roll of alligators around them, quote unquote. Yeah.
And at this point, the French girl shows up. Is like, "Viva la resistance!" Mm-hmm. and throws the bracelet past the punk into the boat. And what happens next is undescribable, but I will let you try.
God damn it.
Because I refuse.
So we see the French girl. She talks to her grandma first and is like,
oh, yeah.
Grandma, grandmère, may I steal your secret Nazi superweapon to do an evil? And Grandma goes, well, maybe you shouldn't, but sometimes there's extenuating circumstances, so I don't know, I guess. That's literally that conversation.
I mean, I killed hundreds of Nazis in my day, kid. Go for it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to break the rules, and I don't know. So then she grabs the bracelet and runs, and we're like, oh, she's going to use it because she's the one good person in this film besides maybe the grandma, and then that makes sense. Okay. So she runs down to the dock, and we're like, yeah, she's going to put on the bracelet. No, okay, she's throwing it to the evil girl. Sure? Why?
The one she literally said, I cannot handle this power because I'm an awful monster.
Yeah. And she goes, well, gotta unleash an awful monster. Throws it to the little girl who, as we established earlier, when she puts on the bracelet, gets the mask powers. She just gets cartoon mask powers. So she transforms into a princess with a big floppy broom wand, which she uses to turn the punk into a pretty pink princess, and make dance for her. And then they're back on the pier. Oh god, I'm trying to remember how this all goes.
So she makes him dance and hypnotizes him into thinking he's a ballerina. And then she breaks the spell just to fuck with him.
Yeah.
and he calls his punk friends. He's like, hey, I actually need backup. This is actually kind of fucked.
This is fucking weird, man.
So they show up and she re-hypnotizes him. This is very Molly Moon, by the way.
Yes.
And he is dancing around again, and then they're like, oh,
yeah,
gay.
They do a homophobia here.
Oh, he's
yeah.
gay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all of the fucking Girl Scouts come marching up over the hill. One by one in rows.
Band and like guns.
Flags.
In the meantime, also real quickly, in the woods, we see creeping up to this whole scene one of the Italian mobsters.
Oh yeah, with a gun.
No. You don't get to call that a gun and just say that's a gun. It's a sawed-off shotgun that's a revolver, is the best way that I can explain it.
It looks like a curved pipe that they put a piece of wood over.
Yeah, it's some fucking weird shit. It's pretty incredible.
He's sneaking around. We think he's gonna fucking blast them. Or hold somebody hostage or something. And nothing happens, so don't worry. There's nothing exciting about that. But the entire army of Girl Scouts shows up. And they start just beating the shit out of these punks and like pelting them with rocks and spitting on them. One girl fucking starts eating the guy's leg.
Yes! Like literally just chewing on his fucking leg. In the credits, she's listed as girl biting leg or biting leg girl or something.
Or... biting what?
Girl
biting sprout is what they call her.
Okay.
Yeah. Biting sprout. So but some of the punks start fighting back, and they're like, yeah, what are you gonna do? We're gonna beat you up, Girl Scouts. So they part. The Girl Scouts part, and an entire football team starts running out and just starts fucking shoulder blasting and
they're
beating the shit out of them, getting in a circle and just kicking them on the ground, fucking boys style.
I want to like make certain too that when we see the Girl Sprouts show up, it's like, oh, okay, well, all the little girls are following her because they're all
and the adults.
No, the adults are. Yeah, I was gonna say the adults are there beating the shit out of these kids. Like all the adults show up and start doing it.
What the fuck?
It's so fucked. So then, Punk Man in his pretty pink princess costume dances over to the girl with the bracelet to pretend that he's under her spell again, and then wrestles the bracelet off of her, and then puts it on himself, but he can't because his hand is really big because he's a fucking doofus.
Yeah.
And so he puts it over like 2 fingers, and he turns bright red. And when I say he turns bright red, I mean they put like a red filter over him.
I assume it's because it heated up like it did with the book at the beginning of the movie, so it's like making him very hot and like burning him. But it doesn't look like that. It looks really shitty.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's like zooming in and out and like shaking the camera all over the place and all weird kind of nightmare bullshit as like the people in the background, and she's in her princess magical wand costume, screaming and dancing, and he's flopping around on this dock in all red. But anyway,
so she gets the bracelet back, finishes them off execution style. That is an exaggeration. I don't actually remember what happens. But she finishes them off by calling the feds with their magic powers that come and arrest them all. And then they also go onto the boat and arrest everybody on the boat.
It just cuts to the scene of the mobsters being arrested by the feds. They're like, oh shit, it's the feds. And then the feds come in and take all the dogs, I guess. I don't know.
And the cop also got arrested at this point off screen. But the whole town shows up at a theater afterwards to celebrate. these punks getting destroyed and the mafia being taken down, because I guess the town also was kind of in on it or something. Whatever.
Who knows?
And we didn't even mention the fucking creepy twins. Jesus Christ, there's creepy twins in this movie.
Texas twins, which, when they got off the plane in the beginning, they're like weird Texas cheerleader shining twins that sing songs at you about Texas whenever you get off a plane in Texas.
Yeah, but they also sing the Get Off a Plane in Texas song here for no reason.
Yes.
And in the backstage, the little girl, our main character, is talking with resistance fighter grandma. And she's like, hey, I don't think I should have this power. You can have it back. I'm like kind of a piece of shit. And the grandma's like, no, you keep it.
She goes, the bracelet only chooses those who should wield it. So apparently, you should wield it. Did I mention it's a Nazi bracelet? So it's probably picking pretty fucked up people.
And when I was undercover with the Nazis and they were burning books, I found it hidden on a bookshelf and I kept it. And then used it.
She talks about how she's like, they were burning books and I was undercover with and it's like, wait, they were. No, you were burning. Like the way that she describes it, it's very obvious that she was there burning.
She was there, I guess, undercover doing the same thing. Yes, but
you say undercover, but she kept the swastika uniform in her attic for 60 years or whatever.
They did make it very clear that she was a resistance fighter and against them, but they also muddied the message quite a bit. Why would you keep all that? Why would you have a picture of
Why would you have a picture of them all saluting? Why would you have swastikas?
Why would you have a
in
Hitler
your house?
painting?
Why would you
have a Hitler painting? Anyway, the point is she gives it to the little shit as some sort of message about learning how to grow, and it wasn't. And then the movie ends, and we get a bunch of footage that wasn't in the film. For some reason.
Okay, and when you say a bunch of footage that wasn't in the film, I think that, like, we were talking... We've had them do outtakes where it's just, like, actors going, like, what's my line? What's my line here? Oh, God, I can't remember my line. And, like, they put that as quote-unquote funny outtakes. This isn't that. This is... They just take, like, random home movie footage from other people that were in the film, I guess. It's
like people that were on set shot stuff just randomly, and then they're like, yeah, let's put it in.
Yeah, and it's not even outtakes. It's totally unrelated to the film. Like, a lot of it is like them walking through the park and just talking to people, and like, it was, I don't know, the movie. Oh, also, the little punk kid who was being bullied by them, and they had kidnapped his dog early on, Doodles, which was a little cute pug. He also gets Doodles back, and he yells, "Doodles!" And we get the third pet counter when he runs over and hugs Doodles.
This is important. The French girl's dog isn't actually dead. They were fucking with them.
Right, they pull it out
comes back, too.
Thing when the girls are singing about Texas.
Yeah, because like the sheriff comes in, he's like, oh, by the way, your dog's not actually dead. Ha-ha! We just wanted to fuck with you. We were holding the dog for days.
Yep.
We found it and didn't want to tell you.
Yep.
God, fuck off. Oh, God damn it.
This is one of the most bizarre experiences I've ever had in my life.
There's also
might be the most bizarre.
Yeah, there's a special thanks in the credits to Olive Garden.
there's a special thanks to Olive Garden. You're not wrong. And also to Bob 105.5 FM with the animal. I'm not joking about that either.
Wow, what a movie! What a movie!
Like 10 minutes long too. There's like 1,000 people in this movie.
There's so many people in this movie.
I especially thank every single person that ever even looked towards the camera or like
they even
lived in a city in Texas. Like,
they individually thanked all of the dogs, the cat, the snake, the tarantula, the rat, everything.
Yeah, there's all this in the movie too. There's all that. That also is in the movie. Don't worry about it.
Like by name, every animal. Jesus Christ.
And then they make it clear also in the credits. They say also all of their stinky problems have been cleared up.
Yeah, there's no more farting. We
They
fixed
say
it.
that specifically. That is like word for word from the credits.
Holy shit. What a film. This might be a masterpiece.
This is one of the greatest films I've ever experienced. It's impossible to fully describe it. My notes are indecipherable to anyone, even myself.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess
Yeah.
I guess we should rate some of the dogs, huh?
Doodles is my favorite. Doodles is a 15 out of 10 dog. Doodles rules.
Yeah, Doodles is
Its
like
name
a
is
small
Doodles.
bulldog, right?
Little pug kind of thing. I
Pug
think.
kind of thing, yeah. It's like a pug. It's adorable. It loves getting hugs. There's, yeah.
Yeah, no. Rufus is pretty great too. Rufus is the main Pomeranian.
Yeah, Rufus is good. I would give Rufus like a 14 out of 10, maybe.
Yeah, Rufus is slightly below Doodles, but I want to point out that in almost every scene that Rufus is in, Rufus has a blep. Rufus has like its tongue
That's
half
true.
out.
That's true.
Pretty fucking great.
They
Also,
use
they keep putting Rufus in like king costumes and stuff, and fisheye lenses, and
they use a fan a lot to blow his hair back, so it looks.
Yeah,
like
they do a lot of weird blowing Rufus's hair back scenes.
Yeah. And then there's Elka, which is the pink poodle. Elka's whatever.
I feel bad. I'm gonna give Elka an 11 out of 10 anyways, because I feel like Elka didn't deserve any of this shit, because Elka's just they dyed this poor poodle pink, and I don't think that needed to happen.
Don't dye your dog's hair.
No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I don't even know how to fucking end this movie. I don't know how to end this episode. I have no idea. Suddenly jazz. Fuck yeah.
My whole life ruined by dogs.